As a close, let me leave you with this true story. Again, if you've ever heard me speak, you've probably heard me tell this story, but if you have, bear with me. A small rural family in rural Kansas, mother and a father and a 4-year-old son by the name of Johnny. Father took the pickup to work every day, and the father had gone to work, and a traveling photographer came by, and the mother heard a knock on the door, and she went to the door and answered, and here was this traveling photographer with the camera, and he said, "Ma'am, I'm a traveling photographer for a small fee. If you've got farm animals, farm equipment, you've got children, for a small fee, I'll set my equipment up and I'll take the picture." The mother thought this was the best thing since jalapeno cornbread, that this photographer had come around to her community, and she said, "Yes, sir." She said, "I've got a 4-year-old son by the name of Johnny. And Tom," she said, "I'd love to put him in his Sunday best and set him before your camera and have you take his picture." So Steve, she put him in his Sunday best and set him there in front of the camera. And he snapped several shots, different poses, and gathered his equipment, explained to the mother the payment procedure, and he headed out the door. Little Johnny was still in his Sunday best. He had his little teddy bear in his arm, and the mother said to him, he said to the mom, he said, "Mom, can I go outside and play?" And she said, "Sure, you can go outside and play for about 45 minutes. And man, little Johnny was so excited to get outside. Man, he hit that screen door, and the last thing she said was, "Don't slam the screen door." It was too late. Man, he hit the door and gone out to play. 45, 60 minutes later, the mother went to the edge of the porch. She called her little Johnny's name. Several times at the top of her voice, little Johnny never responded. She walked out into the farmyard, looked under the farm equipment, looked in the hay barn, looked in the hay loft, to no avail. She never found Johnny, and this mother searched all over that farmyard. And after about 3 hours it had passed, the mother panicked, and she called some of the neighbors in from the rural area to come and join in the search. And 6, 8 hours had passed. The father had come home. The fire department was out there. The chief of police was there, and you had approximately 300 people on this farm searching for little Johnny. And they searched, and they searched, and they searched. But to no avail, they never found the little Johnny. Pretty soon, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. It had gotten so cold and so dark, they had to discontinue the search. They decided they'd go home for 2 or 3 hours and come back. 6 o'clock, they would continue the search. Approximately 300 people came back to the farm, and 6 o'clock, they launched the search again. And after 3 hours, there were no signs of little Johnny. And the lady came up with an idea. She said, "I've got an idea." She said, "Why don't we join hands and walk down the field side by side? And whoever finds little Johnny, send up a yell." Everyone thought it was a great idea, so man, they joined hands, and they walked down that field side by side holding hands. And after a couple of hours, a yell came up, "He's here!" And you can only imagine what that mother's heart felt. She felt something that only a mother can feel. And she fought through all the crowd of people trying to make it her little Johnny. She couldn't wait to see her little Johnny. And she made it to her little Johnny, and she discovered that her little Johnny was dead. And this mother, she reached down and she cuddled her little Johnny. And she was crying, and big old tears were coming down her cheeks, and she was crying, and she was cuddling her little Johnny. And after a while, she looked up at the mayor, and she looked up at the chief of police, and she looked up at her husband. And she said, "If we would have only joined hands sooner, my Johnny would be alive." Friends, don't put ourselves in a situation that someday we'll be able to say, if we would have only joined hands sooner, education would be alive. If we would have only joined hands sooner, poverty would have been defeated. If we would have only joined hands sooner, we could have had a healthcare system that works, that keeps patients and doctors in control of their health care, not some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. If we would have only joined hands sooner, our families would be alive. Friends, if we join hands and do it together, this country, this place that you and I call home, and the rest of the world calls America, it will continue to be a pretty special place. Thank you very much.